All right. So here we go. This is the last little bit of the Linux stuff that we were talking about at the end of Tuesday. So this shouldn't take very long. So there are quite often times where you're going to want to, since you're right by the projector, could you center that for me? Other one. There, perfect. Okay. There's going to be a lot of times where you want to actually do something in the terminal, and you might just have one terminal. Like, especially when we get into the point where we are remoting into a server, right? I mean, that server is going to be a million miles away from you. You won't actually know where it physically is. And to be honest with you, in some cases, it's physically in multiple places because of the types of puppeteering technologies that we have. Think Kubernetes, where you could have a server or a company that has servers in 10 different cities in the U.S., and your server is just wherever you're closest to. Could be in Dallas, could be in LA, could be in New York, right? It depends on where you are physically coming from. So if you're coming from New York, you're getting connected with the New York server just because you're physically closer. But, I mean, technically it exists in all places at once, right? Schrodinger's VM. It's everywhere at once. So in that case, you might limit it to one SSH session at a time. Meaning you get one terminal only. That's all you get. You can't just spawn new ones up as you need or anything like that. So you run into situations where you want to run things like no hup or a screen. So no hup stands for no hang up. It's a really old idea that's kind of that's got a current analog. Basically what this means is if you want to run something and then just push it to the background but let it keep going, you just don't want to see what's going on, you use the no hup command. So no hup kind of works like renice, where instead of invoking a process ID or like nice, where you will tell it like how nice you want it to be or something like that, you'll just run the command as normal, which is that. So let's do this. We'll do this side by side. Oh, it's still not small enough. 100. Well, it's never going to be small enough. All right, well, let's do this then. Well, dang, that's just not going to be small enough. What's that? Well, it doesn't really work in a VM without VirtualBox guest editions because of the way that those work. The screen doesn't really get resized very well, so let's do this. Bingo! All right, so at the bottom of the screen, you got where I'm working off of, and at the top of the screen, you can see what's going on. So in this case, you would just type in something like no hup wget, which is a way to download things off the internet, and then you just give it a resource. In this case, the resource is from bestcatpictures.io. It is the biggest-cat-archive-ever.tar.gz, right? Totally, because everybody needs that. I don't think it actually exists, so don't do that. And then you add the ampersand at the end of it. So, yes, sir. It's an archive, so I would imagine it's a bunch of cat pictures. But anyway, so no hup will run something in the background. So you can do... you can run this... Oops, I got to type in the password right. You can run the DNF update in the background. But notice I didn't throw the ampersand at the back of it. Let's wait till it gets done, and I'll show you what the ampersand actually does. So notice there was no prompt for me, right? As it was doing stuff in the background, it was just a blinky cursor. It didn't actually give me a prompt where I could type anything. This is where the ampersand comes in handy. So long as your sudo session is still open, right, you get about 10 minutes. You type in sudo, you give it the password for 10 minutes, and it refreshes every time you run sudo. It will keep that open where you can just type in sudo and it won't ask you for a password again. So if you're in that situation, you can just do that. So the ampersand, so between no hup and the ampersand, that will allow you to run commands in the background, and it just finishes when it finishes. if you want to see what the output is, notice it says ignoring input and appending output to nohup.out. Look in your home folder. You see that file? Do you see what you think I'm looking for? Nohup.out, right? So we can cat nohup.out, and you can see it's exactly what you would expect, right? It didn't work. Look at the bottom. Is this okay? Bad file descriptor, right? So no hupping your updates is probably not a good idea because there's interaction required, right? You got a sudo, and then it'll ask you for the password, and then it's got a question to answer. But there's ways to do that. I think you can give it a -y, and it'll do that. So if you actually do want to no-hup your updates, which I don't recommend, because errors, man. If it errors, it won't tell you. It'll just happen all in the background, and you have to go look at the nohup.out file to find out that something went wrong. So anyway, you could do this. You totally could do this. Also with downloading files, right? What if the file is 20 gigs? It's going to be a bit. And you might want to be able to continue using your terminal at that point. So if you swap in the wget and the target with nohup on the left, ampersand on the right, it'll just download the thing. And when it's done, it's done. Right? It won't come back and tell you that it's done. Yes? So, as we were getting into this, I was describing a scenario where you only get one, where you won't be able to open up more than one terminal. But you're not wrong, because there are ways to open up terminals within terminals. Hang tight. Hang tight. So nohup is a way to do one or two extra things at a time while still maintaining your prompt, assuming you only have one terminal, right? Well, there's another way to do this. Nohup is the easiest way. Just throw nohup and an ampersand at the end. Whatever you're doing, it'll push you to the background. Easy peasy. Most of the time, we think linearly, step by step, right? You just do one thing at a time. Getting further than that really does start to complicate things, and that's when we start to make mistakes. Well, let's say you want to put that evil on yourself, right? You can use something like screen. Well, screen is actually pretty involved, but there's always help all along the way. A lot of times there are servers that you might want to run that are interactive that you don't want running as daemons. Remember earlier we were talking about system control, start whatever daemon, and just let it run and run and run and run and run, right? Well, sometimes there are daemons that you want to physically and actively interact with, but they will maintain your terminal, meaning like they'll hang it up, like they'll keep the terminal locked where you can't add Linux commands to it, but you can interact with the server itself. So, it doesn't really help us all that much, but the one thing that I can think of is like the Minecraft server. When you run it, it just gives you the log of Minecraft, what's going on, right? But you can't run Linux commands in that case. So, what you would want to do is run the server in one screen and then open up a whole new screen. Let me show you what that means. Whoa. Okay. So screen. It's like nohup, but you can do it like a million times. There's no real limit. You can set up limits in the configuration file, but there are no real limits to how many screens you can have open at the same time. The more important part with screen is to just try and remember some of the commands or some of the key combinations that you'll use as you're going on. And they all start with Control A. Now, you guys are going to run into this because you're running it in a VM. Always use the left control. Because, see what that says? VirtualBox owns your right control. It will not behave the way you expect it to if you use the right control. So, every time you're using screen, left control. Left. Or, AKA, whatever it says on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen in your VirtualBox, don't use that key. It won't behave the way you expect. So, Control A, and then you get options. So in CentOS, in the lab, I'm asking you guys to do CentOS with screen, or screen with CentOS. But screen is not in the base or AppStream repositories. So you have to add a new repository. That is, I forget what it's called. The EPEL, shoot, I forget what did I just type? Because I did it a second ago. Here, hang on. What's that? Oh, no, no, no. It was a screenshot or a snapshot, so I reverted, so it doesn't have that history. But it should have the history in snapshots because I wrote it down. Yay, EPEL release. Look at that. Documentation comes in handy. So document, right? If you'll think, oops, I keep using my own password, not the right password. So EPEL release is additional packages for CentOS. So packages that that Red Hat does not do thorough testing on. They know it works, they know it's compatible, they know it runs, lots and lots of reports that say it works just fine. So they make it available to you, but you have to go and manually turn it on. And that is sudo dnf install EPEL-release, and it'll take care of that for you. So if you forget this, then this command that I'm about to run will not work. That one. Right? Sudo dnf install screen. Screen is in EPEL-release, that repository. So if you do this, and it says, no install candidate found, or no package found, or whatever, it's because you didn't install the EPEL release repository.
We have that command in our assignment thing.
No. You guys think I do that for you? I'm that nice? I just showed it to you. I'll throw it in just a minute. All right, so it goes out, gets screen, tell it yeah. It'll download, install. Just tell it yes. Well, I can just tell it yes. Y'all need to read what it says. Yeah, y'all need to read what it says. Yes, read what that says. Warning, header, signature, no key, importing a key. Ooh, what is a key? We can talk about that. But at least for this lab, it is not directly important, but it is important. So anyway, once you get screen installed, you can type in screen. Well, that looks weird, right? But look at the top. In a situation where you're actually just running in multi-user mode, you don't actually see anything. It wouldn't really give you any indication that you're running within a screen. So let me show you what's going on. So I've got LSBLK, let's do an LSL. So I've got information on this screen. But this is a, what do you call this? Like, this is a terminal within the terminal that I was running in before. Right, where I was doing DNF update, EPEL release, all that stuff. I have created a window inside of that. Let me show you what I mean. So if I do Control A and then press the D key, it will drop me back out to where I was. Notice it says, detached from 2661pts0.localhost. So I can type in screen -ls, and that'll list all of the screens that I've got running. So in that additional terminal, it'll just remember what I was doing. So you can reattach to the screen with a screen -r, and for me, I just tab. There's only one screen. Tab is an easy way to do that. But in the notes, I have it where you just type in the ID number, so 26611. And you know that because it tells you detached from 26611 dot blah, 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 right? And then just hit tab, and it'll take care of the rest. But again, since there's only one, I can just hit tab and it takes care of it for me. And then it brings me back to what I was looking at. So we've got two terminals. The terminal that I physically launched within CentOS, and then the underlying terminal that I launched with the screen command. But that's not all. You can keep making new ones if you want. So you can Control A and C for create, and there we go. There's another one, right? Let's do I don't know.
So this is to be used if you can only have one terminal window.
Right, right.
To download
You have to install Screen.
EPDL
Mm-hmm.
to get this.
To get access to be able to download Screen, and then you install Screen. Mm-hmm. Let me see.
It's just a workaround having only one window.
Yep, that's exactly what Screen is. That's all Screen is. It's nothing too terribly special, but yep, that's exactly it. All right, so on that screen, I've got the output of the Etsy directory. On the previous screen, I have lsblk and the output of my home directory. So how do you go back and forth? So notice the second and third options right underneath the VM, P and in. So Control A, and then P for previous will take you to the previous screen. Control A and in for next will take you back to the next one. And then Control A and D will detach you from all of that. This is your actual terminal again now, the real one. And you can check that by doing Screen ls. And then you can go back into that as you need. So, why you wouldn't use it for anything?
The screen is basically the same exact thing as terminal.
Yeah, Screen is a terminal.
So it's like it doesn't have any root. It has root privileges and it's all the same.
You are still you. When you launch a terminal in Screen, you are doing that as you, so you are continuing to act as you.
So it's just to launch more than one
Yep.
command at a time.
Yep. If you are restricted to only one terminal, Screen will allow you to stretch your wings and create 16 of them if you want. So what you'll need to do in that case then is just create new terminals within Screen with that Control A and then C, and then back and forth with Control A and then P or in, and yeah. Once you're done with them though, so notice put me in the second screen. So is the most recent one that you created. So Control A, and then we'll go back one. You can do Control A, and then K. Really kill this window? Yeah. But it keeps me within Screen. So I'm still looking at the other screen that I created a little while ago. Let's kill that one too. Control A, K. Are you sure? Once you kill the last screen window, it gives you this. Screen is terminating. So now you know that Screen is done. There are no other screens that you are using. No sockets. That's it. That is pretty much it. So what I'm going to ask you to do in the lab, I think, is like run some updates or something like that. Go to a different screen and then pause the first update and kill it or something like that. I can't remember. Let me look. It's really not much different than if you had two terminals open side by side. That's really what Screen does. Except it's a little bit harder because you have to like remember what's going on in the background or detach and do a list. That way you can see what's going on. There are more commands than just what I showed you within Screen. Screen -- help. So you don't necessarily need to be familiar with absolutely everything. In the real world, the help file exists, right? So when you're like, is it Screen ls or Screen L or Screen LL or Screen what? What is it? And then you can actually come in here, type that out. And notice right here. Or -list. So either or. Now let's look at the lab real quick so I can make sure I told you everything I need to tell you. Yeah. So, yeah, so you're opening up Screen. I'm sorry, you're running PS, then you're opening up Screen, and then in the first screen, you are using less to see this file. I've used less quite a few times up to this point, so y'all get to patch that together. The less command and that file. You want to look at that file. Then creating a new screen, second terminal in Screen. find that less command using PS, and then you want to see what you've done. So change the niceness of less to -10, and then use PSL to actually see that. Then have screen within a screen. So this is the only thing that you're gonna have to trawl the help file for. What I want you to do is list all screens while you're still in a screen, while you're still in there. It's a Control-A thing. You just got to figure out what that is. Look at the help file for that. Show all the screens, and then that Control-A-K that I was telling you how to do. Kill each screen. And what I'm looking for this screenshot is it's where it said for me, it was like all screens terminated or whatever it said. When it tells you that screen is done, take a screenshot of that for that last one. So, that's it. How y'all feeling about that? That good, huh? What's that? Of course not. Nope. Lab's open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if your hair's on fire, come see me. And for those of you in Brownwood, Slack, email, we can WebEx if you need. The first one is. This one is not, because I'm not done with it yet. But yes. Yes, it is.
I got your YouTube, not subscribed.
Cool.
But I can't view any of your videos.
You might be able to see the playlist. The playlist is public.
I couldn't see anything.
Well, if that was way early on in the semester, then that's true. But check again. Check and see if you can find the playlist. If you see the playlists, all of the videos are in there. The videos themselves are unlisted, but the playlist links to them, so it'll give you access to them.
Just a hypothetical question. If I'm doing this lab right here with CentOS, and I accidentally spill water on it, do I get extra time to turn it in?
No.
CentOS is not my favorite system.
Is it just because of the way that it behaves in the VM, where it like captures your mouse and it's like janky? Oh, okay. So you really have beef with CentOS itself.
It just doesn't do what I tell it to do.
What do you mean? Because all the terminals are just as mean as the other terminals.
Yeah, but, and I guess this kind of clears up a lot of things. Because I had figured out that I needed another repository.
EPEL for screen.
I could never get it to go get it for me.
Yeah.
I was trying, but, and I think what I did not do was to install after I got it. So I was pulling my hair out.
Okay.
And then I had sent you a message because it's about 2 o'clock in the morning because I was still pulling my hair out on the Slack.
Yeah.
And then, like 5 minutes later, I decided to look at the video and I saw that you said, well, I'll teach you that on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. Well, that's it for this. I'll stop this recording and I'll get it posted for you.